but you never really had a doubt. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. And all the roads we have to walk are winding.
Hey songwriters, this is Ari Koinuma and welcome to my 3 songwriting wisdom series. Today we are going to look at Oasis Wonderwall to see what kind of songwriting tips and tricks that we can find in this song. Now this song is among the probably most straightforward of the hit songs that I've analyzed so far, and thus it's a great example if you want to, if you're relatively early in your songwriting journey and want to get some fundamentals of songwriting down. You can not have like advanced techniques like key changes and all that, more sort of fancy moves. You don't need any of that to create a great song and to really have songs that stick to people's head and then to resonate in people's hearts. So let's see what this song does that will really make it work as a simple yet great song. So first of all, I'm going to play the verse melody on my guitar. It goes something like this. So what can we say about that melody? Well, that melody is not that tuneful, but it has a very strong rhythm to it. If I just ignore the pitch and if I just recite the rhythm, it goes like this. Pa 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 pa. So even without any sort of pitches associated with it, by rhythm alone, that melody is actually kind of interesting to listen to. And when you have a melody, it's easy to think of it as, okay, it's a melody, so it the notes go up and down. But actually, what can really make a melody great is how rhythmic that is. And then that is a great example of rhythmic verse, where they don't rely so much on how melodic, how nice the notes are, but it's more on how the rhythmic that particular melody is. And in fact, if you look at the lyrics, you notice that the strong beats and the strong words perfectly coincide with each other, and that words and the rhythm really sort of flow naturally, so that the rhythm that's built into the English language is really honored in this particular the verse. It just has a really nice sense of like almost like a talking, like it's somebody's speech like rhythm to it, but it's done in a sort of a groovy, sort of a snappy way, thanks to that more syncopated rhythm there. But that still goes along with the words that are written. So verse is not, doesn't have to be the most memorable part of the song, and then to set up a contrast for the chorus, which we'll see next. It's a great idea to rely on the rhythm, and then they do it so well by sort of honoring the rhythm of the language, and then not sort of forcing it to sound be weird, or to deviate away from how like a spoken sentence has its natural rhythm. So it's a great setup for the next sections to come. So moving on, this is what the next sections might sound like. It goes like this. Okay, so that's how the pre-chorus and the chorus goes. But I want to pay particular attention to this chorus, which is, if you notice how the verse was melodic and busy and speech-like, this has lots of extended notes, and it's actually skips a few notes here and there. So this song is in the key of F sharp minor, and then the notes for the chorus are C sharp, A, and then back down to F sharp, and then A, and then C sharp and A. So it's actually making up the chords of the F sharp minor chord. Alright, and this is what we call a triadic melody, meaning that, you know, there is a jump, you know, it's not like a stepwise motion, because that's smoother but kind of predictable and boring. So he skips notes, but the notes are skipped strategically, so it makes up a chord. And then, you know, it does go up to D and E there, but, you know, if you add an E to the F sharp minor chord, that's like F sharp minor 7th, right? But the point I want to make is, first of all, the chorus has a great contrast to the verse, and then that's what sort of give you the sense that, oh, here's a different section, you know. And then because the verse was kind of busy and speech-like, when he slows down and sort of enjoys the extended notes, you kind of pay attention to it, and that's what helps the song stick in your mind, that chorus. And then the notes that make up the chorus are triadic, meaning they make up a chord. So if you are stuck for melodic ideas, that's a great place to go to, is to figure out the chords, what notes are in those chords, and just kind of play around with the notes that make up the underlying chords. And of course the chords are changing over there, but you know, F sharp minor being the, you know, the key of the song, you know, just sticking to those notes is just a great sort of a no-brainer as like the first choice of, you know, what kind of what notes will go along really well with those chord progressions. Well, try the notes in the key F sharp minor, you know, which is F sharp, A, and C sharp, and you're just gonna go. You know that, and then that's a great starting point for a melody, is to just look at the chords and then use the notes. So that's a fairly fundamental and basic thing that you can try when you're trying to come up with a melody for a chord, melody for a section of the song. Alright, moving on. Next I'm going to sing to you a bit of the pre-chorus part, but the part where I like you to pay attention to is the chords. It goes something like this. And all the roads that lead you there are winding, and all the lights that light the way are blinding. There are many things that I would like to say to you, but I don't know how. Alright, so in songwriting, we have what we call harmonic rhythm, and harmonic rhythm refers to the fact that the song sounds cohesive and not like a bunch of series of randomly strung together chords, when the chords change at a predictable, regular rhythm or interval, I would say. So, you know, this song is no exception. Going into that section, the first half is right. Sorry about the out of tune chord there, but so that's, you know, more or less changing at per bar basis. That, you know, the D comes slightly early and the E minor is 2 bars worse, but, you know, it's still a fairly predictable schedule for the chords, so to speak. But then the third time around, the chords change twice as fast. And so when you have a harmonic rhythm and you set a sort of expectation of how the song's harmony changes and moves, you can, at an important part of the song, sort of deviate away and then, you know, and then become a little busier, and that will bring the listener's attention in, because all of a sudden you feel the harmony changing fast, and you're like, oh, you take notice of that place. You don't want to do it like too often, because then that becomes the new normal and then it doesn't make a difference. But in this case, that part is very dramatic, precisely because the chords change twice as fast just for that phrase. Now, but even then, you don't have to really think like you have to come up with like twice as many chords to go to. You could, but a lot of times you can get away by basically taking an existing chord progression, but then having like a passing chords between them. So in that particular section, it's going from G to F sharp over D to E minor to D and A, and that is framing a move which is essentially goes like this. It's basically descending the scale from A, in concert 8, from G to down. And then that's mostly in the chorus bass note. So although the chords are changing twice as fast, harmonically it doesn't really strike you as something out of place, because he's essentially going from G to E minor and then down to A, but then just doing that at a regular interval doesn't sound quite as dramatic. So he just put in sort of a chords that connect between them, the major ones, to make it more smoother but yet busier and dramatic at the same time. So in songwriting, you do want to stick to a particular harmonic rhythm, and that should be somewhat consistent throughout the song, but then in key places you can deviate away from that to sort of bring attention to that place. And that is a great sort of a technique to have in your pocket, when your song is starting to sound a little too predictable, a little too smooth, or just boring. Yeah, you can put in moves like that, and then all of a sudden that will sort of lift up that section and then make the song more interesting. So today, Wonderwall by Oasis, we looked at this as a great place to learn some basics about songwriting, and we looked at how the verses start out being very rhythmic and how that sets up a great contrast between long notes in the chorus. We also talked about how the chorus has triadic melodies and how notes that make up the chords are a great place to mine for melody. And then finally we talked about harmonic rhythm and how regularly chords change at a predictable interval, but then in important places you can sort of deviate away and get twice as busy, or actually twice as not busy, but to slow things down, just basically deviate away from the set interval to sort of draw attention to that particular section of the song. And those are all great sort of fundamental techniques of songwriting that you should learn when you're trying to grow as a songwriter. Alright, thanks for watching. I have many more songs to come in the songwriting analysis and lessons, so please subscribe and keep watching. See you next time.